Kimi no Nawa, Your Name, Story Before the Story. Let's go. The story begins in 2016 with Taki. Actually, no, that's not right. The story actually begins in 2013 with Mitsuha. Goddammit, this is not right either. The story of Your Name actually truly begins hundreds, perhaps thousands of years in the past. A comet strikes the Earth, and it's shown that this comet split into at least two fragments. One fragment made the crater where the lake of town Itomori now rests. The second fragment made another crater where mysterious temple of Miyamizu was later built. This makes it clear that in the past, comets had a tendency to split up into pieces. This theme of division, splitting up, and fragmentation of what was once whole will be important throughout the narrative, as a metaphor for the relationship of our protagonists. The way two craters now look can even be a metaphor for our heroes. Mitsuha is represented by the crater with fertile valley and the family temple, while Taki is represented by the second crater where the lake is. The metaphor of lake fits with Taki's character, since he is kinda deep and appears calm and collected. But there's a lot of metaphors and parallels in this work, so let's start from the beginning. At the site where the first comet hit, people build Miyamizu Temple and start a cult devoted to comets. This temple is run by Mitsuha's family. The idea was to help prevent disasters, such as a comet strike, in the future. And how? Well, followers of Miyamizu Temple notice that women of the temple, who uphold tradition and perform sacred rituals, gain a supernatural ability. Those women can spiritually and carnally connect with another person via dreams. This ability was deemed to be a gift from the gods, which must be used to stop future disasters. This showcases one of the main ideas of the movie, which is deeply rooted in Japanese culture, and therefore into anime as well. The idea that tradition is extremely important, as it was in the past, as it is in the modern times. So much so that the main message of the movie is that tradition that lies in the past, rituals of Miyamizu Temple, literally saves the future, Mitsuha and Itomori. This sounds a lot like the quote from Orwell's 1984. He who controls the past controls the future. He who controls the present controls the past. This quote is basically the cornerstone of the main message from the movie, and it would be little wonder if the writers were inspired by it. I personally heard this quote first from Kane of Command & Conquer, but the idea is the same. Miyamizu Temple controls the past in order to save the future. Poetry in prose, as I like to put it. The tradition of Miyamizu Temple is as follows. Women of the temple will perform rituals, including the Kuchikamizake. That's what Mitsuha and her sister performed, something akin to Shinto dance, but with a red string. I'll explain the red string later, cause there's a lot to say. This ritual includes using bacteria from the girl's mouth to start the fermentation of rice in order to make sake. Why is this important? Because by doing this, the woman from the temple offers up, gives a part of herself to gods. This is precisely why women of this temple, for generations, had a supernatural ability to switch bodies and minds with other people through dreams. Why would they bother with this? In order to warn people from the future about impending disasters, such as a comet, and to ensure the survival of the town of Itomori, a tradition that saves the future. So, the comet struck. People made the temple of Miyamizu and the cult. Women perform rituals. It's all going according to plan. But something happens. A couple of hundreds of years before Mitsuha was born, all written records of the Miyamizu Temple's history burned in a fire that originated from a toilet. This is definitely a metaphor as well, but let's not get too carried away. Because of this, people today have no idea why are the rituals of Miyamizu Temple performed and why they matter. Mitsuha's grandma, temple priestess, does not know about the comet and the idea that disasters need to be prevented. All she knows is that tradition absolutely must be carried out, because it's crucial to do so. She implanted this idea deeply into her daughter and grandkids. Next important development comes much closer to the present day, and it concerns the death of Mitsuha's mother, who was deeply connected with the temple and rituals. Her husband leaves the family and the temple, and becomes a politician and mayor of Itomori, while being scorned by his mother-in-law, Mitsuha's grandma. Her feelings are understandable, but it should be pointed out that Mitsuha's father is not a bad man, nor are his intentions. In the story, he represents the modern attitude of humanity, which forgoes tradition in favor of a more modern ways to improve the city, and he does all he can to improve the future of Itomori. Alas, he is not able to do this, because a comet will fragment and destroy his city, something that he is absolutely unable to predict. On the other hand, his daughter, who is a polar opposite to him, as she likes the tradition and rituals, she can predict the disaster. Once again, the idea that without knowing our past, we cannot have a future, Orwell really pops up in the most peculiar places in modern art. After their father abandons them, Mitsuha and her sister are raised by their grandma. Many years pass after this, but we're still not getting to the point where the anime starts. Mitsuha and her sister perform the Kuchi Kamizake. They make rice out of their saliva and prance around with red string. After that, they visit now dilapidated Miyamizu Temple. There, Mitsuha finishes the ritual and offers half of her being, through sake, to the gods. Why is she offering half of her being? She doesn't understand it at the time, because the records were burned, but she does this in hope to create a spiritual connection with someone through dreams. A connection that surpasses time and space, with the final goal to save Itomori from the next comet. It should be noted that all women from Miyamizu Temple had the ability to connect with other people in this manner, including Mitsuha's mom and grandma. But those women were not able to make a strong, durable connection. The memories of such connections would be disregarded as weird dreams about inhabiting the body of someone else. Mitsuha, on the other hand, is able to make such a connection with Taki, so much so that they were able to retain some memories of each other and even live out whole days in each other's bodies. Why was Mitsuha able to do what generations of women before could not? We mentioned the spiritual bond and the ability that connects two people via dreams. At the moment when Mitsuha went to the temple to finish the ritual, her body was not in her control. Her body was controlled by Taki, and Taki, while in Mitsuha, finishes the ritual at the temple with his own two hands. Since the ritual is all about offering half of yourself to the gods, this is exactly what Taki does. He offers a part of himself, but also a part of Mitsuha, and this is one of the reasons why their bond is stronger than any other before. Taki finished the ritual that Mitsuha started, and because of that, their connection is incredibly powerful. This fact alone makes the events of the movie possible, where Mitsuha and Taki switch bodies like no one before. Second tradition Mitsuha's grandma shared is about threads, knitting, and red strings. A red string is revered in many cultures: Hindu, Kabbalah, Christianity, Chinese legends, and also in Serbia as well. The idea of the red string can be stripped to its basic meaning, which is that the person carrying the string wishes to never be alone. Mitsuha's grandma explains at length the importance of strings and knitting in Miyamizu Temple, as it binds your soul to the strings. If you make the strings will become a part of you and your soul. The very act of knitting is a way to offer your soul into the threads, just like the sake ritual. But strings, just like souls, tend to wear out after being used and fray into separate threads. Each of those go in a different direction, but all of them are invariably a part of the original string. This fraying of strings is a parallel in tune with the fragmentation of the comet, something that happened at least twice in the history of Itomori. The idea of red strings is the second factor that made Taki and Mitsuha's connection so strong. But how? Well, we'll discuss that in greater depth in our next video, Your Name, Story from the Anime. Almost 2,000 words spoken and several thousands of years has passed, and only now we are slowly approaching the year 2013, when the story from the anime actually starts. In my opinion, everything stated thus far is absolutely necessary in order to fully understand the depth of Your Name. All these factors concerning rituals, ceremonies, threads, souls, tradition, and perverted alcohol are needed if you want to truly accept the message of Your Name into your heart, something this anime definitely deserves. Naturally, it is completely possible to enjoy this anime on a surface level, just like a kid watching an Avengers movie. But that's not why you're here. You're watching this video because you want to know exactly what's going on in this story, and to perceive the details, big and small, that you may have missed. It's not easy to get all the metaphors and subtleties in an hour and a half of runtime, and therefore you are a minority in this world, a minority who truly wants to understand a piece of art that touched them appropriately. And for that, well done. Honestly, congrats to you for wanting to give this anime time and brain power it deserves, unlike the Avengers. In our next video, Your Name, Story from the Anime, we begin at year 2013 and delve deep into the actual events of the movie itself. Until then, all we can do is thank you for watching this video until the very end, and to remind you to like, share and subscribe, and to give other videos on our channel a chance. That's it for today. See you in our next video. Bye bye!